You're listening to The Grapevine. My name is Sunny Lisiwe Owetundabeni, aka Mama Gastering, aka Mama Action, aka The Black Card.
Hi, nguzodidizwa Witano, Mama Gazenande, former journalist, now turned media specialist, and unfortunately, I can't be smashed because I'm grand. So, Sunny, in the week there was this post trending on Facebook where it's a Telkom worker, first of all, there was backlash over Telkom and how they're managing their environment around their employees. Mm-hmm. This woman is a manager at Telkom, who's also a former lecturer at Walter Sisulu University. Really? Yes, apparently she's known for being very rude. Just people commenting, saying like she's gangster, like she's the don't mess with me vibes. But anyway, so there's an altercation between this woman, the manager, and an employee who's probably a sales agent at Telkom. The sales agent issued out a contract, cell phone to a guy, but there was issues with this contract. She initially, according to what she's posted, she got approval from the manager. And now that this contract issue is spiraling out of control, the manager is backstepping and is now saying, like, it's your fault, you're responsible, you need to go fetch the phone from the client. Yes. And if you don't fetch the phone from the client's workplace, you have to go to the police station and report the client for not bringing back the cell phone. And she's of the view, how am I going to do it? Because it's unethical. First of all, you said as my manager that I should issue it. Secondly, how do I go into the space of this man's workplace to collect a phone like he's stolen something? And how do I go to the police and issue it as theft when it's a criminal charge against this client? Anyway, so she's questioning this, but there's a recording where she calls this manager, and the way she refers to the manager is Mpati. So you can see there's a
level of respect.
You can tell even the age difference between this woman is much older and she's very young, you can tell. So Mpati, this is what is happening. She's updating the manager on the developments in this situation. And the manager's response is, I've told you about it, I've spoken to you about it, don't tell me this nonsense. For me, my antennas go up when she uses the word nonsense over the phone. And the tone of this manager is very rude, very robust, very aggressive. And this employee says, but Mpati, you're not listening to what I'm trying to tell you. Like, you're not listening and trying to understand where I'm coming from. And she's like, why must I listen to your nonsense? You're saying this. And then she says, this lady goes back and says, but Mpati, this is the problem with you. You said I must do this. I did that. Now you're not willing to listen to me as I explain. So what is the point of this conversation? Because you are not listening to me. This woman says, listen here, if you don't go and take this thing or do as she's told, just vacate my store. And then the girl says, okay, I will vacate your store. Just make sure you pay me for the 7 days that I've worked.
Yeah.
Fast forward, there's another clip now, a video footage now, and not a recording of the two of them fighting in store. And it's the manager and the employee, and you can hear the manager's like, I'm going to beat you up, bitch. I'm gonna, she's very aggressive, and she's torn this girl's clothing, and there's a fight, and people are trying to
separate the two,
diffuse it, but it's not working out. But the thing is, now it brings me to a point, so many of us encounter conflict in the workplace, and we don't know how to manage or navigate the way through conflict resolution, because first of all, you still want your job. Second of all, you don't want to step on any toes that might have the powers to promote you. We've got key performance indicators, so you want that KPI, approval stamp. But how do you talk to your manager, or how do you address your manager's behavior if it's not if it's not positive? You know what I mean? If it's not conducive and it's not professional, how do I say I don't like the way you are talking to me right now?
As a manager, you need to be accountable. Not only to your bosses and your bosses' bosses, but you also need to be accountable to your staff.
Yes.
And I think that is where this person is lacking in this context. And I will speak generally now. I'm not deviating from, the main issue, but we are finding in workplaces that managers do not like to be, one, held accountable, or
True.
two, they do not like to be accountable for their conducts. They have this superior complex that comes with a particular role or a particular tier or a level, thinking that I can do as I please, I can speak and whatever as I please, which is where the issue lies. The moment you cultivate an environment and a space in which your employees can flag and raise certain things with you, do not take everything personally. That's the one thing. Because this person, just based on her reaction, she's taking it personally. She's taking it as if it's about her as a person, not about her as a manager. And that's where she's missed it, which is why Wusu probably let go of her in the first place, because they lack that core level of management.
Exactly.
That is where the thing has fallen apart. Now, as a manager, you are actually responsible to resolve conflict amongst your team members, amongst you and your team members, and amongst your team members yourself and higher management. Now, if you cannot do that with someone who is a level down and is raising something and is flagging something with you, and this is how you react and you respond, you should not be in management.
I agree. And I also, but I'm taking it from the lower staff, the junior staff's level, as to how do I tell my man, how do I put my manager into account? First of all, do I say it verbally that I don't like the way you are talking to me right now? I feel that the space is not conducive for me. Or do I write an email addressing the issue that this is an incident that happened, and this is what transpired. Therefore, I feel that this and this affected me, and this is, you know what I mean? Because I'm also a person who believes in paper trail. I'm very big on
Get
paper
your
trail.
receipts ready.
Because in environments that I've worked in, most managers like to make decisions. We always, in corporates especially, we always talk about communication being the key. We pride ourselves in the way we communicate. Effective communication means effective work. Don't wait for an email. Go to the person and talk to the person if it's urgent and X, Y, and Z. But there comes a point where verbal communication doesn't count, because it doesn't. It's not in your file. It's not recorded. Therefore, it can always be contested. So I'm of the view that the way I manage conflict or conflict situation is, if I face myself, because there was an incident where I was instructed to do something. I did as instructed. However, because we work in teams, not everything is dependent on me. I need to wait on other people, for information that may be for anything. We're in a team environment. Therefore, my work sometimes will fall on the back burner because I'm waiting for something from someone else. No matter how much, because the workload and the capacity, I can't force that person and literally pull it out. I need to wait. Sometimes deadlines are against us in these cases. So there was a situation where there was an issue with deadline, and I was waiting for this thing and it wasn't coming at the time. So now I'm getting the flag for not producing the thing on deadline. And but it's the manner it was said, it's the tone in which this thing was said, and it was very condescending. It was very rude, as if you're talking to a child. I don't like that. We are professionals. I've got a qualification. I didn't ask and just be given this because of the matter of, because you like me. I deserve to be here. I have merit to be here. That's my stance as an employee. And then, so what I did was, I first said to her, I explained my situation verbatim, but I still saw that it wasn't being, when it's being brushed off, and now it's not being addressed, and there's no solution or compromise or proper, I am sorry. And then I followed up with an email, quick. Hi, this is an incident that happened between us. I record now. I did this, I did that, into following the things that I did to ensure that my work is delivered. And because I didn't receive these things after numerous asks, it is your job as the manager to go above and speak to my colleague now. because I can't be that boss to manage my colleague. You know what I mean? There's a point where we can't manage each other. We can communicate, we can ask, but I can't manage my colleague. It's not my job. It's your job. So I wrote everything. I typed it up, and then I said, next time, I would appreciate it if we could do this, and this. I offer solutions on how we can overcome whatever conflict that we were experiencing. And then I sent it through. She came immediately and was like, I didn't know that this is how it was, but it's how I overcome it. And for me, by putting it on record, it's my saving grace that whatever may happen in future or something like this may arise, I've got something to say, but I did this and I protected myself in this way.
Even verbal conversations, always say as per our conversation.
Exactly.
And record. That is very vital, because it turns out to be a he said, she said situation at a later stage. Or you'd find that conversation that you had in January, when it comes to now salary negotiations or
It's
any
coming
chats,
up.
it's coming up.
Exactly.
Whereas your saving grace could be, but I sent you this email and you never responded.
Exactly.
And it is not your responsibility. Also, we need to be firm and draw the line. And as much as, we have that from an African perspective.
We work hard.
We
wanna
work
do
hard,
above
and we
beyond.
also have this thing of respect because you're an elder. We also need to toe the line when that respect blurs the lines between respect and disrespect.
Exactly.
We should not be tolerating it. I literally saw someone like on my Instagram who was like, she's had 2 men shout at her as a junior at work. And I asked her, how did that make, like, it was just a random chat. I don't even know her personally. But I asked her, like, how she felt and whatever, and, like, what are her next steps and whatever else. And she said she honestly just kept quiet. And I was like, my girl,
You don't keep quiet.
You don't allow, it's not even a gendered thing now. I'm not making it a man versus woman dynamic, but you never allow yourself to be disrespected simply because of that respect factor that comes from your upbringing, that you must respect your elders, because our elders can be disrespectful.
And another thing is very important, because obviously we don't all work in corporate environments which have values or key values and ethics. But I also think it's important, if you're encountering conflict in the workplace, always have another representative present when you are going to tackle that issue. All companies have HR managers. There's always someone from recruitment or even another manager for e-call centers. There are team leaders. Involve a team leader from another team to come and facilitate that engagement or conversation among you guys, to ensure that you've got someone who's going to be your witness. And always maintain your cool. Guys, it's very important for us, especially women, not to involve your emotions in the workplace. That is our flaw and that is our weakness, and it always works against us. Almost all the time it works against us. I'm going to talk about myself because it's my experience. Situation, I used to work for a newspaper. You know how newspapers are.
Yeah.
Right, we are shouted at. You're a junior. Listen, it was easy for your editor to say, what the fuck are you doing? And shout it across the room. And it's acceptable in that environment. It was acceptable. Like, you couldn't talk back when an editor says or shouts at you, how do you spell so and so? Maybe it's a typo. And you would literally have to say, this is how this word is spelled. And then they will ask you from across the room, now, why did you spell it this way? Do you know what I mean? That's embarrassing. That is diminishing your whole confidence. And it's among peers, your work peers. So it's an environment that I come from. And it's some things that I had to unlearn into doing because it made me very timid. I remember an incident where my manager hung up the phone on me as we are talking. The news desk editor, she asked me, there was a story that wasn't coming, and it's not my fault. In environments where you're in a newspaper, if a story is not coming, it's not coming. You can pitch a story or she can give you a story, but if it doesn't work out or it doesn't work out the way we thought it's going to work out, it's not working out. We need to find something else. But she made the issue of filling that hole my issue. You're a news desk, it's your responsibility to fill gaps in the paper. It's not mine.
Yeah.
If I've got a story, I pitch it, I do it, but don't pressure me to fill that hole. It's your job. And she dropped the phone as she was talking to me because she was like, this needs to be done. And then she hangs up, just drops it while amid chat. I was fuming. I was livid. I was like, you don't talk to me that way. And I've already,
Also,
it's
you
at
don't
a time.
hang up, you rude.
It's at a time where I've had Zenande.
Uncultured
So I'm
swine.
already, like, once you become a mom, you feel there's a level of power that you also have and of womanhood. I don't want to lie. So I was like, you don't freaking talk to me like you're talking to a child. I don't talk to Zenande the way you just spoke to me. But instead of addressing it, I told my friend, my colleague, and we went downstairs and she had a smoke. And that was time for me to just talk things through and cool myself emotionally because I was upset. Like I was in a rage where I wanted to take my bag and just leave this freaking place. So my friend managed to talk me down. We cooled down, had space, and then we came back. And then I sent her an email and I said, hi, I don't like the conversation we just had. This is what happened. I recorded whatever happened. And I said, I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you on this matter. That raises alarms. When you are proactive in addressing the inaccountability or the rudeness or whatever bad behavior of your manager, they will always jump because they don't want to be called out on what they do. We had the conversation. It was sit down. She came with a pen and paper. I came with my pen and paper. I was like, I'm going to record this as well as you're doing. I'm going to record. And then I asked her, do you want an HR representative or someone else here? Now, I've taken the power over her and made the meeting mine, you know, and me showing that I want an HR. It's me showing that I'm not scared of addressing this because I know I was not in the wrong, you know. She said, no, we can have a chill. Now she's being nice. Now she's stopped being the that she was over the phone. She's nice. And we had a proper conversation. I was calm, no emotions. We spoke it through and we left that meeting having a way forward as to how we will talk to one another and how we will address one another in a professional way because I made it known that I'm not a child. I have earned my right to be here.
Yeah.
I know what I am doing. I respect your role as my boss. I respect your role as a person who's here to guide me. But there's certain things and certain behavioral things that I do not deal well with and are not good in managing me. If I do something like this, maybe you should try and doing that. And she also came with, if I do something, maybe we can do it this way. This is how we can handle it. So we're learning one another, but that's also conflict resolution and managing how we go forward.
You know what? I've been very fortunate that my current boss is the best boss that I've ever had in my professional life. Shane, my boss is such a sweetheart and he's very patient. And I think the one thing that I appreciate is that my weak spots or my mishaps is that he actually is able to, speak to me in such a way that he kind of like guides me. So he will literally say, hey, you know what, in future, like, you know, maybe try to tone down here, whatever. Like he understands me as a person. He understands that I'm a firecracker. So he gets that. My previous bosses, on the other hand, I am not going to lie to you, I've always been at war. It got to the point where I even resigned with immediate effect. Never in my professional life. Literally, I sent the email, I resigned on the spot, closed the laptop, gave and left and never turned back. And I waited to get paid. I was very smart.
Some people can't do that.
You paid it.
Some people can't do
I'm
that.
out.
You know that.
You know, and you know what? The funny thing is, it was so strange because I'd applied for another job and I got feedback that I was going to start on the 1st.
Oh, so
for
it
the
was a
other
good
job.
thing.
So I was like, I get you timing. Yeah, aligner.
God,
yes.
divine intervention.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, God knew. But there have been instances where I've actually left, like advertising agencies, where I actually up and left. And I was like, there's no ways. I cannot be disrespected to such an extent. And the one agency, I will never forget, where a female manager said to me, I need to prove my worth and why I should be in the space. And I'm like, excuse me, Kanti, why did you hire me? Did you hire me for shits and giggles? Like, I honestly didn't understand. And then I understood why they have such a high staff turnover. There's no ways in how everybody can leave a company, from the cleaner right until your management, and you think that you are not the problem and everybody is wrong in acrimony. And most people who are there, it's because they don't have an outward, they don't have an exit strategy. You know, the people that left knew that there is a demand for them, so it's easy for them to up and leave. But the people that stayed, they stayed and are still there currently because the circumstances do not allow them to leave because they do not have a backup plan. But I will say this, for someone who's worked in extremely toxic environments, always make sure that you have a paper trail. And also, if you can, refer to the words, a direct quote where those words were problematic. Because we're not expecting to be babysat in a workplace. No. But have that level of respect and tact when you're addressing and speaking to someone. And you know the Bible says, do unto others as you like done unto you.
But it is exactly
literally that.
It is exactly
your manager would not appreciate it if you had hung up on them on the phone.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's those kind of things. It's and also managers need to understand how you treat your employees determines the output.
100%.
It determines your output
100%.
because if you create a space in which your staff members feel protected and they feel safe, the output that they will churn
Go
out
above and beyond.
You'll never hear a staff member complaining about time.
Exactly.
You'll never hear a staff member saying that, but it's my Saturday off. You'll never hear that. They will actually work because of, the kind of manager that you are. My bosses literally send me messages at like 9:20 asking me to post something. And I'm like, you know what? I can feel the sleeping tablets hitting, but I'm going to do it.
Because
Because of the level of, that it's not about respect or fear of losing my job. No, don't get it twisted. It's because I know my boss literally, I can say to him, okay, this weekend I'm going to a wine farm. I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and E. Is there anything? Now it's gotten to the point where I ask, do you think in your forecasting, is there anything that's going to require me to have my laptop? And he'll tell me, just take it just in case. And I'm like, okay, sharp. Now I travel with my laptop in my car. I've got data to hotspot my computer. And that's okay because that's...
You want to do it. I want to do it.
I want to do it. And I'm not even cognizant of the overtime, logging in timesheets, what. It's because he's created such an environment whereby it's easy for me to go above and beyond and not say, I can logo my job description says this. Therefore, anything above this,
and I think from a managerial point of view as well, I've had a stunt where I had to manage people. I think it's very important what you're saying about cultivating space for growth, because staff always want to be led by a person who knows how to get the good out of them. Know how to get the best out of your employees. You know what my strength is, you know what my weakness is. But even when criticism, I always say, I don't want someone who's saying you're doing good. Tell me, where am I lacking? But the way in which you tell me where I'm lacking is very important. Don't say, you did this wrong. Show me, you know what, this is how you can improve on this and this. And even when I am in the wrong, I say, I'm sorry, I didn't think of it that way. I will take this into account. There's certain words and certain phrases that needs to be used. I apologize. However, this is what I think, because I will never, or when you say, I take note of your feedback, that is already saying, I might not agree with what you're saying, but I've noted it and I acknowledge. That is very important. Don't let an email slide without you responding if it's giving you feedback that you probably don't agree with. I take note. I will revert back to you on this. Or may we have a discussion in future about this. I'm not understanding this, or there is a situation that I'm not comprehending. Do you have time for us to discuss this? You know what I mean? There's certain ways in which you can phrase it, or I do not agree with this. However, this is what I might do. Or I do not agree with this. Is there any other way we can work around it? Say your stance, but also offer solutions. You need to be able to be confident. You're not there by chance, guys. Even if you work at a call center, you work at a restaurant, you are rendering a service. There is something that you are doing. It's not someone giving you a favor or doing you a favor by giving you a salary at the end of the month. You are rendering a service, whatever service it may be, and always see yourself as that, a service provider. Because it is there where you'll get the confidence as to, I have what I'm doing. I'm not here for free. I'm not asking. Therefore, you do not talk to me in a certain way. You do not do this. You do not push me. You do not shout at me in front of people, because the way we communicate is very important. It builds the environment, and I am afraid of toxic environments. Like my mental health, guys, is super important to me, and I make it known. I make it known to my manager, to my colleagues, that my mental health is important. Therefore, when things get to a point where I do not agree with it or it's overwhelming me, allow me to take time out. And I will say, can I just have 5 minutes to just try and process this? I'll get back to you on it. You don't need to give a response immediately, because our responses have emotions, guys. If you just shoot from the lip, because it comes back to you, and they will use your emotions against you.
Exactly.
And whatever you said. So you need to be very cognizant of what you say. Take time, think about it, write it down if you don't trust yourself. And now be very critical and aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you say. I think this is for me by far.
Me, I'm done. I'm captured. I'm captured. But the one thing that I will definitely say to people who are navigating, you're starting off like in your career and whatever else, do not be a jellyfish. Yeah. Don't go with the flow. Have a stance, stick to it. Remember your moral upbringing and your moral compass, Also know where to toe the line and draw the line, because a lot of people find themselves being abused in the workspace, where now you are doing things above and beyond as if this is your mother's and your father's company, when it's not. And I know it sounds crude, and it sounds whatever, like this is not your mother's shop, but you need to understand that you are disposable.
Yes.
There's
someone else
who's going to come and take your place. When are you thinking you're the Beyonce of the workplace? Can't you are nothing but a measly Latoya. Because
not a Latoya.
Made it.
Not a Latoya.
Yeah, you're going to be a Latoya in the workplace, and then there was 4, now there's 3. Don't do that. Don't think that you are above and beyond.
And stay clear when you have an issue with someone in the workplace, be it your manager or your colleague. Try to address that issue with that person. Do not have caucuses with other people and involve other people and make it a gossip situation. You're creating toxicity, you're creating mistrust, you're creating a flaw, because those people will go back to that person you're talking about and they will share whatever you said.
Okay, my dear.
So if I have an issue with Usane, I tell you, this is, I don't like or I don't appreciate, or this is X, Y, and Z. If I see that Usane is not taking in what I'm saying, okay, Sane, let's wait. Then I can call in Amber. Amber, Sunny and I are going through this. Don't you want to just mediate or just listen in? That's okay.
In fact, it speaks to our tiff that Emma and I almost had that didn't happen. Emma and I were on the phone until midnight, because there comes a point as well as a person where there is a gauge.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There is something that literally tells you that, okay, no, I was the one that was wrong in acrimony. And how do I remedy and fix this so that we can move together and move forward? Yeah. And I think that's what people don't mute that voice that says accuse.
And so I think it's very important. Don't just shove yourself because it's you and think that you have the rights and you're entitled and everything is yours. It's not. Introspect is very important in situations, and when you find yourself in conflict, don't quickly try and address it. Try to think, how did we get there? I think it's very important to first think about, how did we get there? Retrace your steps as to where did we lose it, so that even when you do address it with someone, you're able to say it.
Exactly. But Sana, let's leave the management
and the relationshiping to situationships.
Don't chola in the workplace. Please don't chola with your boss, because it becomes tease for tense. It's been real, guys. Have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, whatever it is. Zana, just have fun.
Yeah, from me, it's Love and Light. We'll talk to you when you hear those voices again. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell us what you're doing and how you're navigating through these things. Till we listen to each other again.
Till we meet again, we do.
Love and Light.
Bye.